Five, four, three, two, one, rolling.
What's up, y'all?
Okay.
Debate Podcast host, Ryan Gaines, and my co-host, Mr. Marlon Edwards, English teacher, film extraordinaire, old man.
Dang. Did you make my seat lower to yours?
I tried to make my seat as low as possible. So we're trying to match your seat.
Is this even? That's.
I was not trying to. This was not planned. I wasn't trying to disrespect him, nothing like that. I promise.
There we go. Now I like that. Yeah. All right. So let's do the intro again. Now that I got this thing centered right here.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
How y'all doing? It's the LU Debate Podcast. I'm your host, RianG Gaines. My co-host, Mr. Marlon Edwards, English teacher, film extraordinaire, father, husband, man,
Content creator.
content creator. Let's get into it. And speaking of content that you making, that's your realm. We want to talk a little bit about film today. Now,
Wait, hold on. Before we get to that, you didn't even say what you do.
oh,
You're a Langston student. Okay. What's your classification?
I'm a junior. I'm
Okay.
19 years old, psychology major. Work for Title III. Do a couple research projects. Hopefully do more in the future. I don't know where I'm going to go to graduate school just yet, but I'm graduating next semester,
Okay.
next spring.
Okay.
So I ain't got too much time left.
All right. Let's get into it.
Okay. Film.
Mm-hmm.
Black cinema specifically.
Yeah.
A lot of our culture kind of doesn't know about it, and we know like the top things like Django, Get Out, but a lot of the other things that are more nuanced and are underrepresented or misrepresented.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things we kind of fly under the radar. You were telling me a couple of weeks ago when we first started talking about Bass Reeves.
Yeah.
And the Cowboy. What about Bass Reeves is so important, and why should people know about who Bass Reeves is?
So if you don't know who Bass Reeves is, he's arguably, I don't even know if I want to say arguably, he's the greatest lawman to ever live. So he was deputized as a United States Deputy Marshal back in 1875, and he patrolled the Oklahoma Indian Territory, which at the time it was Indian Territory. Right now, today, it is the state of Oklahoma. And so he was one of several black men that were actually Deputy U.S. Marshals. But this guy was amazing. I mean, he was like, at a time when the average height was 5'5", he was 6'2". He could ride. He could shoot. He fought in the Civil War. He was big and strong and tough. Had a great personality. And I would say he had a great memory, but he may have even had like a photographic memory. And so he spoke several Indian languages. He killed, at first it was reported that he killed 16 men in the line of duty. But now it's been rumored that he killed 19 men in the line of duty. And he died of old age. So nobody shot him, took him out, like they did with Billy the Kid or Jesse James or, anybody else. Like Wild Bill, got shot in the back of the head. Like, no. Like, this dude was a real deal.
Now, I want to kind of talk about that real quick, because you mentioned Billy the Kid and things like that. I want to just mention real quick how many movies Billy the Kid has that he's featured in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Here's a couple more. 5, 6, 7. That was another one. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean, Jesus Christ. The list goes on IMDb until 46.
Yeah. And there's a television series about him on right now, about Billy the Kid. And when I was growing up, I know you want to talk about my age. Hey, cut it out. Listen, when I was growing up, He don't know nothing about this, but they had genes, and they had some Billy the Kid genes, like when I was a kid, and of course, like nobody really knew who he was, but it's like, yeah, we got all these movies, and actually, one of my favorite movies that sort of got me or gave me that push into film was a movie about him, and the reason why I liked it so much was because it was historical, and it was really a great story. But that's what kind of got me into it. But yeah, there have been tons of movies made about him. Then we have Bass Reeves, who was inducted into the Western Heritage Museum back in the 90s. And I was the first person to do a feature film about him in 2000. In 2000. And I'm an independent filmmaker. And I didn't have no money. But I found out about his story, and I was like, no, they've been trying to keep this from us.
Yeah, you
somebody got to tell the story.
You actually contacted the writer of a book who did an entire book on Bass Reeves, and you talked to him about it, and you kind of felt through that how underrepresented he was, because it was like the only book about him.
Yeah.
And nobody knew about it.
Yeah. Art T. Burton was his name.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then we see what they did with the new show.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Let's move your audio over here because mine cut out for some reason. All right. So the new show, it's called Bass Reeves. It's on Paramount Plus.
I haven't watched the show personally.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some clips.
Mm-hmm.
It is god awful. I don't know how they greenlit that. I don't know how they even decided that was a good thing to represent him in.
Yeah. I know how they greenlit it. I mean, David Oyelowo is a prominent actor, and he found out about the story, and he wanted to do something about it. Now, we've had other people, in the past, like Morgan Freeman, who bought the rights to Art Burton's book, and he wanted to do a movie about him, but he never did. Like, he had the rights to Art Burton's book in the year 2000 when I was doing the movie about Bass Reeves. And, he came close a couple of times. Like, he had a deal with HBO a few years back, but, Morgan Freeman is Morgan Freeman. He's got money and connections, so don't tell me that you can't get this movie done if it's that important to you. So I don't want to hear any excuses about that. So David Oyelowo was willing to put up his own money to get it done. And so, of course, when other people found out about the story, they were like, oh, okay, you're putting up your money and you have some status. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. But my issues with David Oyelowo is, much respect for him for doing that. But, he's a British actor. And, I'm not saying anything against British actors, but this is an African-American hero. And an African-American should play this African-American hero. And I don't want to hear that nonsense about, it should be the best person. No. Because if you look at it, this is no different than, kind of pushing us aside and trying to make us invisible.
Yeah.
It's like, you already don't want to do a movie about a Black American hero. But then when you do one, you don't even want a Black American to play the Black American hero. So, yeah, if there were tons of movies about historical Black figures, that would be great. Bring the British actors in because we've seen all these movies. We don't have that.
Yeah.
We have very few movies about Black American heroes. So because we have very few, then Black Americans need to play those Black American heroes.
And I think that extends larger than just Black American heroes, just like Black people in general. I think there's been a big Black film movement recently, but it still kind of feels small in comparison to white films.
Absolutely.
And it's not just black people, but minorities in general. But we're going to focus
people of color.
Yeah, we're going to focus specifically on Black people today. But why is that? Why don't we have more? Who is it? Tyler Perry, Oprah, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. These rich Black people with so much money,
billionaires.
They literal billionaires.
Yeah,
they're in the billionaire club. There are only a couple hundred billionaires in the world.
Right.
And what do they choose to do with their money? We kind of saw that problem with Deion Sanders. When he moved from Jackson State to Colorado, we saw how he built up Jackson State to
And then rolled out.
Yeah, like Jackson State was a powerhouse. He revamped their equipment. He brought a new staff.
Brought a lot of attention to HBCUs.
I remember seeing Jackson State on First Take and on Undisputed, and I was like, I have never ever seen an HBCU on either of those shows ever. And of course, Stephen A. talks about HBCUs all the time, but talking about it on your podcast is different than showing it on national TV.
Yeah,
we're gonna be honest about it. But they did it because of him,
right? And
then when he rolled out, it's like, okay, you're just gonna leave him in the dust?
And it's like, what was this about anyway? What was this about? You trying to help the HBCU, or was it you trying to help yourself and get to where you want to go, and using the HBCU, which were the only people that would take you in the first place, just as a stepping stone?
Yeah, because it's not even like Deion Sanders didn't have any money before this.
Right.
Like he was already a rich football and baseball player. People forget he was multi-talented.
Yeah.
He was one of the best.
He's one of the greatest athletes
ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Any sport. He could probably do track well too.
Yeah, because he was super fast. Yeah.
But he chose to still follow the money, which that's an argument where we're like, okay, you can follow the money and you want to make sure your family is safe and they're covered for generations. That's that generational wealth. Deion Sanders has generational wealth.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is his plan to go back to Jackson State? It don't seem like
not.
it.
So it's a mentality. I feel like as Black people in the United States, we don't understand like the power that we have, because we think that we always have to go to other people to get help for things. And what I mean by that is, Deion moving from the HBCU to going to a Division I predominantly white school. It's like, oh, well, they get all the money and they have the better facilities and they will get more attention and things like that. And it's like, yeah, they probably will. But if you stayed at the HBCU and you built it up, where would it be? Also, if our best athletes didn't go to these Division I predominantly white schools and they stayed in our HBCUs, where would everybody come to?
Right.
They'd be coming to the HBCUs, and the HBCUs would blow up. But, we've been taught that what they have and their stuff is better. So we got to go get their stuff. And it's like, do you even know about Black Wall Street? Do you know that history? You may have heard of it, but do you really know the history?
Yeah.
And if you know the history, then you understand the power that the black dollar had. All that money stayed in the community. So you were enriching an entire community of Black people. So you had landowners, you had doctors, you had attorneys. And when they spent money, store owners, that money stayed there. What we see now in our Black communities is the money comes in, maybe there's a Walmart or a Target in your hood or close. You spend your money there, it goes out. It doesn't stay in the community. They're not giving money back. They're taking your money and going to spend it on something else, right? They're going to put a Target in Edmond based off of the money that you spent in the store.
Yeah, and Edmond already has 3 Targets.
Right. And so, it's a mentality of not knowing our history and not knowing our capability and potential because we don't know our history.
And, and I can see the argument against that. I can see the people saying, okay, that's not my issue. I'm here to be successful for myself and my family. I know the routes to be taken care of. I say, like you said, I go work for somebody who is white CEO, very rich, and I have job security. I have benefits. I have dental. I feel like that's a trap that a lot of
people fall into.
Yeah, like of any generation, you can fall into that trap, no matter how old you are, because you want that. You want to be able to say, I have a stable job with benefits and things like that. And I feel like some people who do, have those stable jobs, they do try and go back to the community and do it on their off time, or and they do it for free. They volunteer. But our issue is not with those people. Our issue is with the people who just do it with not with minorities, but just do it for themselves and don't even try to give it back.
Well, and the thing is, historically, the system has been set up like that. So if you even go back to slavery, right, you had the field Negroes and you had the house Negroes, right? So the house Negroes had it better, right? So everybody wanted to be a house Negro, right? So if you could compete over that, you'd be competing to be the house Negro. And so it's the same thing today. We're given limited opportunities, right? Like, how many Division I Black football coaches are there, right? And so if they know in their head, hey, we're only going to have 2.
Yeah.
So then you got all these black coaches fighting over these 2 positions. So when they get those positions, it makes them feel a certain kind of way, like, hey, I made it. Like, I'm better than everybody else. That's why they chose me. And so there's no feeling of community, right? And it's like, we don't need to play that game. Like, we can create our own opportunities. And when you do that, and the one thing that we have to understand is that as a black person in this country, if you're successful, you got a responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't just be like, a white guy and be like, hey, I made it and I'm successful. I don't have to do anything else with my money. No, we have been oppressed, right? There are laws against us still to this day to keep us from being successful on numerous levels. So if we don't help ourselves, nobody's going to help us. So we have a responsibility when we reach a certain amount of success to pull those up behind us.
And we're not talking about the success where you're like, okay, we're going to take the things that are commonly known about black people, slavery, things like that. And that's still important, but there are hundreds of other aspects where I'm looking at you, network executives. There are hundreds of other aspects that y'all could be focusing on, telling stories like Bass Reeves, like other unknown black history that is not MLK, Malcolm X.
Right.
We don't even talk about Fred Hampton that much, honestly.
No. We don't talk about the Black Panthers that much because most people don't know the history of it.
Yeah, the Black Messiah is a term that I just learned about last semester in Black history. COINTELPRO, that's something we were just learning about. And why don't we hear about that regularly in schools? Okay, we would get into CRT and everything, but we ain't got that time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we ain't got that time.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that on a different day.
Yeah, because education is my second passion. So I'm in with the CRT and the woke movement. I'm looking at you, Florida. That's why I don't want to go to Florida.
I know. My dad. So he was a professor, and he retired. That's all he ever wanted to do was teach. And one of the things that he always told us when we were little, he was like, "I don't ever want to go to Florida. I'm never going to Florida." And we were like, Florida's got beaches. What are you talking about? And so we didn't really understand. Now, like, I understand and I see like all the nonsense that they're doing. Like, they have been one of the most racist states in this country for a very long time. And so my dad like knew what he was talking about because he was a history professor. So he knew.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I still think it's funny though, like that Florida man you always see in the news, like Florida man does stuff. There was a whole trend where you would like look up your birthday, like Florida man, October, whatever your birthday was. And it will be some crazy story. Anyway, we got to move on. We only got 30 minutes in the podcast.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, we are. We'll be on. Yeah, we sure are. Okay. The next thing we wanted to talk about was, well, let's get away from the heavy topics for 1 second. I want to talk basketball.
Okay.
Me and you love basketball.
Yep.
I wish I watched it more, honestly, but I keep up with it. I watch, man, I was so sad when Shannon left Undisputed. I was so sad.
Yeah.
I
I used to watch that because they be having some battles.
Yeah, but yeah, I keep up with it. I know you love it, especially LeBron James, Michael Jordan. LeBron James is better, by the way.
No,
but
not at all.
So let's look at the playoff standings real quick. In the East, we see the Celtics are our top seed. In the West, see the Nuggets are our top seed.
Yep.
I'm a huge Jokic fan.
I am too. Jokic. Now, yeah, he's got skills.
So I see the Celtics. I see what they're doing. They brought in Kristaps. They have Drew Holiday now. There's a super team, but I still can't shake that feeling that the Nuggets are gonna find a way to win. Because Coach Malone's been there for years. He knows everybody on that roster.
They're also, world champions, so they know how to win. The thing about the Celtics that always gets me is that I just feel like they're young, but can't really say that anymore. They're not so young. Like they're 2 stars in Tatum and what's the other guy's name? Jaylen Brown. They've matured and they've been kicking everybody's butt this year. So you can't count them out. But at the same time, I feel like I haven't seen anybody have an answer for Joker. And I've seen I've seen Tatum have bad games. I've seen Jaylen Brown have bad games.
Yeah.
So I don't see them as just totally unstoppable. But Joker and all the things that he does, because he dishes the ball, he rebounds, he's a presence on defense. Like, he's tall, he's got size, and he can shoot the three. He can post you up. He's strong. So if you don't have an answer for that, like, there's going to be problems. And then if you try and we don't have one person that can stop him, so we're going to put like 2 or 3 on him. We're going to converge when he's down low.
Yeah.
He's going to kick it out to Murray or somebody like that. So I don't know. Right now, Denver looks strong and tough. But another team that looks strong and tough to me that I think people might be counting out is actually the Lakers.
No, well, what do you? Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
So, LeBron is his high IQ, and if Anthony Davis is healthy, like, the Lakers are tough. They got shooters. Austin Reeves is the truth.
But before you continue, I just want to remind everybody the Lakers are the 10th seed. The Rockets,
the Lakers are 10th right now?
They're the 10th seed.
The Warriors passed? Oh, my goodness.
They are the 10th seed, everybody. The 10th seed, and he's saying that they're a strong team. Continue.
Yes. So I feel like, LeBron, he can find the time when he wants to coast in games. And the playoffs is when he steps it up, right? And so he's gotten through the season. Now it's go time. And you're going to see a different LeBron, I feel like. And if Anthony Davis comes back and he stays healthy, they're going to be very competitive. Now, I'm not saying that they can beat everybody, but I'm saying that I think they have a strong enough team that they can make some waves.
You know what? This might be the first time I've completely disagreed with you on something.
And you're a LeBron fan.
I enjoy LeBron.
What kind of fan is that? Okay.
I enjoy LeBron. Is he better than Michael Jordan? That's another conversation we can have another time. But the Lakers ain't got no shot. For one reason.
Okay.
LeBron and Anthony Davis, fine. They've been playing well all season. They play well together. Austin Reeves is stepping it up. Everybody else is garbage.
That is not true.
Cam Reddish, he got there. He can't shoot anymore.
D'Angelo Russell has been going off of late.
But he's inconsistent.
Yeah, he can be inconsistent, though, and they can still win. They have a couple of dudes. Hashimura is legit, right? And then they have this guy coming off the bench. I don't know what his name is, but I've seen him play a lot. He is the real deal. He's got like a fat goatee. He looks like real old school. And, man, this dude be straight balling. I'm telling you, you watch him. So where do you think they're going to end up then?
I think they're going to end up home. I think
so they're not going to even make it out the play-in, is what you think?
No, absolutely not. Listen,
okay, we're going to talk about that next week. Or they're going to make it out there.
Listen, okay, they have a chance to beat the Warriors. They have a chance.
But they're not going to play the Warriors in the...
Well, no, not...
Right? They will play, the Kings?
Yeah. If it
or the... Let's see.
Yeah, because they're all got the same... They got the same record, so it could change in these next couple of days.
Yeah.
So if they play the Warriors, they have a chance. They're not winning against the Kings. The Kings are too versatile of a team for them. Yes, Anthony Davis and LeBron might get their stuff. Everybody else is not going to get anything.
But the Kings are young, though. And I don't think they've been in the playoffs since Fox has been there.
This is how I know you don't know basketball. They went 7 with the Warriors. They went 7-game series.
When, last year?
Yeah, last year in the first round.
So that was their first time in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Then. So they have limited experience in the playoffs, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So they got a good team. I'm not saying that they don't, but when you got veterans on your team, like when it comes down to crunch time, I'm going with the vets, unless they're old and they need to retire.
So what about the Thunder? Are the Thunder going to make a deep playoff run? Because they're really young.
They are really young. I don't see it. I just don't. I don't think that they are. I don't think they're ready. I think they have a lot of. I feel the same way about Minnesota. And I don't know what they will do, but I just feel like they have not been there, and there's something about being there and having that experience. And I look back to the days when Michael Jordan was playing, and he kept trying to get over the hump and it was tough. He had to go through Cleveland first, and then they finally beat Cleveland because he hit that game-winning shot. But then it was like, he had to go through Boston, like Boston had jacked him up. Man, they had to go through Detroit. And so they learned a lot in those series to get better for the next season. And so I feel like it's the same thing here. Like there is you ain't gonna beat Denver. Denver's got the experience and they got the talent, right?
That's true.
So even looking at somebody like the Phoenix Suns, you put the Phoenix Suns against the Minnesota Timberwolves in a 7-game series. You got KD and all the other players,
Beal.
Booker. Yeah, like I'm going with Phoenix. I don't care what their record is, and I don't care if they don't have home court advantage. So the young teams like the Thunder, the Timberwolves, I don't see them going very far.
I mean, I have belief in those teams because even with that, you're right. The experience does matter, especially in a 7-game series where you're doing a lot of adjustments, you're switching.
So basically, I'm saying youth sucks.
Right, but you know what?
Just kidding.
You know what?
I got you on that.
See.
I walked him right into that. Y'all see that? He was like, "Yeah, they don't have the experience."
Next topic, bro. I'm moving on to the next topic. I'm tired of him. Okay, last topic. We ain't got too many more minutes.
Okay.
But we want to talk about last thing, words.
Yeah.
How harmful they are.
Yeah.
In psychology, as I'm learning, and as of course Mr. Edwards has so much experience with, there are a lot of words that describe things like mental illness, for example, that we used to use, but over time we said, okay, there are better ways to describe this without having to hurt somebody.
Right.
Because our word, right? People use that all the time and they still use it. But it was, at one point, it was scientific,
And it was accepted.
Yeah, there's a term called mental retardation that was scientific, and it still is.
But people took the mental off of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And they took it and they just used the word by itself and using a derogatory term.
Weaponized it.
Yeah. And things of that nature. So we want to talk a little bit about like what words could we or should we ban? Should we even ban words, or is that too much policing? What happens with free speech?
I feel like in the United States we have our Constitution, but there's a lot of hypocrisy involved in our Constitution, our laws, how our government is run. And so we have to look at and understand that the Constitution was not written with black folks in mind at all, right? So when you want to talk about freedom of speech, like we weren't considered in that, right? So yeah, you could say anything you wanted to a black person. You can call them whatever you want. So we didn't have a voice in that kind of thing. And so we know that words are harmful. We know that, people commit suicide over things that people have said to them. And we know that, everybody has something that they remember that somebody said to them that was harmful and hurtful. And it's hard to get over those things. And it could be something that happened, you might be in your 40s and somebody said something to you in high school, and you still remember that. So words are very powerful. And just like we were talking the other day, our words are everywhere. They are our means of communication. We use them in everything. We have them in books. We have them on computers. This is how we learn. This is how we speak to each other. And so if it's so important and paramount in our everyday lives, you mean to tell me that they're not hurtful or harmful?
Yeah.
As powerful as they are? They are. Wars have started over words. People have died over words. People fight over words. So to sit here and say, oh no, it's just, it's just talking and it's just, words don't hurt people. It's just the behaviors. Yeah. Words incite the behavior. And it's as simple as that. So I feel like there are some words that should be banned because the N-word should be banned. And what I want to know is who's sitting over here fighting for that word. No. We can't ban that word. I want to be able to say it.